How are you everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to talk about working with wedding photographers. Now, because I am a wedding videographer, so I've met some fantastic photographers to work with, still communication, friends with those photographers. We were in communication during COVID because it was extremely hard time for everyone. So it was more of a support system that we had set up. But most photographers I've worked with have been fantastic, and I know that a lot of people who are starting out as a photographer or videographer, to be honest, is concerned about meeting the other supplier. So I'm going to talk about photographers because I'm coming from a videographer side myself, but it does work both sides. Now, I'm going to talk about the negative sides that I've had when I started as a wedding videographer and how one event kind of put me out of my comfort zone and kind of made me become the person I am today, because I strategized around how to approach photographers and how to sort of set myself up when I go to a wedding so certain situations don't happen, and if certain situations did happen, then I know how to deal with them. And the first ever really bad experience, I've never had anything like this since. I went to Devon from Manchester. It was a long journey, so I got there the night before, and the morning I got to the hotel where the bride was getting ready, and there was two photographers. First photographer was really very friendly, polite, and she was very helpful. You know, we were having a bit of a laugh, but then I got to this venue and I met the other photographer, and I'm going to call her Anna. I can't remember her name, to be honest, and to be honest, I couldn't care. But anyway, I get to the venue and I go up to Anna and I say, "Oh, hi Anna, you're the photographer, aren't you?" She goes, "Yeah, who are you?" And I went, "I'm Liam, the videographer, so I'm going to be, I'm going to be doing the video today, so I'm looking forward to working with yourself." And she was getting stuff out of her car, and I went, "Oh, do you want a hand?" She goes, No. And she didn't even say thanks. She was kind of very passive aggressive in her tone, and she goes, "So what are you here for?" And I says, "Well, I'm, for the video." And I thought, well, I've already kind of told her. She goes, where are you going to be standing then?" And I says, "Well, I've not decided, so but I went to shake her hand and says, "Oh, I'm looking forward to working with you." And she just looked at me hand, and she's as if I had a piece of shit in the hand, a dog poo or whatever, or picked my nose, and she was like, and she wasn't interested. So I said, "Well, I'm going to go up to the venue and just have a look around, and I'll let you know where I'm going to stand, if that's all right with you." And I was very polite, and she goes, "Yeah." I put my camera down onto a tripod G7, very small camera, it's not in the way. I asked the guests, speak to the guests, because I love speaking to the guests, getting to know who they are. That's a little tip for everyone, because it makes them feel welcome and you're interested in people and you come across as a friendly person. And I says, "Oh, I'm not on your way by any chance?" And they went, No, you're not on my way." Then I go to the groom to mic him up and say, "My camera's going to be over there. Is that okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's miles away. Is that all right?" Then I went, "Yeah." So I said, "I'm going to be standing behind it most of the time, but I'll have a camera on the gimbal." So the other photographer came, which goes, and she overheard me speak to the groom, and she goes, "Is that where you're going to be standing then?" I went, "Yeah, is that okay with you?" And she goes, "Well, I'm not too sure because you might be in my way." And I went, says, "But it's out of your way." She says, "Well, I can move it." And she goes, "No, as long as you don't get in my way." I says, "That's all right." She goes, you're going to be standing there, aren't you?" And I says, "Yeah." She goes, "Can you be kind of static?" And I went, "What do you mean?" So she goes, "Well, can you not just move them away?" I went, "Yeah, that's fine." I says, "I will be moving around a little bit because I've got another camera and a gimbal, but what I'll do is I'll wait for you to, stop taking your photographs, for example. There's like I'm assuming there's going to be a few seconds between you taking photographs and you chilling out." And she goes, "Yeah, but you might still get in my way." And I thought in my mind straight away, this person's not going to want to work with me. So the wedding started taking place, and the photographer's clicking away. I'm behind the main camera, making sure everything's been filmed, and basically monitoring the sound and all that stuff. And then I'm watching the photographer, making sure that, and I'm out of the way of her, and she's taking photographs, and then she stands aside and then just stands there with the camera down by her side, and she's waiting and, talking to the other photographer. So I jump in for about 10 to 15, 20 seconds maximum to take photographs. And then she's giving me these really evil looks. So this is from the photographer, and I'm thinking, God, I feel really awkward here. I feel on edge because of it. So anyway, she keeps doing this, and and I turn around at one point and I go, "Oh, sorry," and she's there doing that, and I'm thinking, well, she's not taking photographs, so I have the right to get in and take some, without being in the way, and I made sure. So anyway, the ceremony's nearly finished. The bride and groom are doing the signature. So I take my main camera for the owl walk. I go right down the bottom, put my camera up as you see in the video, and for the bride and groom to walk down. So I will press record. I walk up, and then this is where Anna, photographer, stops me. She goes, "Oh, you got in my way! You, for fuck's sake!" And then this guest looked up. She goes, "You stopped me taking." I went, "Well, no, because you stopped taking photographs. It's the only time I moved." And she goes, "No, you did." I thought, wow. She goes, "Where are you going to be walking in the owl walk then?" I said, "Well, where you know?" And I said, "Well, can we not both just take, like be side by side or take turns?" And she just, so the bride and groom were coming down. And for me, it was more like photographer, videographer. There was plenty of room. Photographer then threw a temper, walked by, "He's done it again." And then both photographers jumped in front of the main camera and blocked it off. And as you can see in the video, she walks as the bride and groom walk down, which I completely missed because the two photographers completely blocked that off. And in my opinion, why do you need two photographers for the same shot? I don't get it. I think it's extremely rude. That the guest that saw her on, she came, she goes, "Are you all right? That was kind of rude of that photographer." I said, "Yeah, that's fine." She goes, "Does she work with you?" I went, "No." So she doesn't. I don't think she wants me here. So I went to the brother and I said, "Look, I've spoke to this photographer. I've been friendly with her." He goes, "She doesn't want you here, Liam. I can tell, and she just wants the best shots for herself. She's basically out of college. She's done a few weddings." And he goes, "You need to take control because we've paid you." So I'm getting the idea that she hasn't been paid or something. I don't know. That's just in my mind anyway. And he says, "Just do your own thing, Liam. You're doing what you're doing." And that's it. So she was doing it all day, even doing the dance. She just looked at me. At the end of the day, I said to the both of us, "Look, I'm really sorry if I got in your way." And I apologised. This is one thing I won't do anymore. I won't apologise for things that I know I'm doing right. So she just went, "Yeah, all right, whatever." And then she just walked off, and I thought, what an absolute... If it was flipped around, I would have took the videographer to side and said, "Look, I don't know if you realise, but you did get him away a few times, and I'm wondering if we can work together to see if we can get the best positions and all that side. And I think we can get really good shots and stuff. I don't think you realise you got him away, but I'm just letting you know because I missed a few good shots there." Going back to myself, I would have went, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't realise that." But then if the person's kind of going, yeah, whatever, and doesn't want to know, I would have turned around now, going back into myself and saying, "Look, okay, fair enough. You could have come up to me and said, 'Look, this is the situation. I understand you're stressed out or whatever and stuff. It's a long day or whatever. However, swearing at me in front of guests, that was inappropriate. You could have just took me to the side and spoke to me. But the two of you blocked off and the main, the camera, and stopped me getting that video footage. There was plenty of room for us all. I'm not going to work with yourself. I'm going to do my own thing. I won't get in your way, but I'm going to do my own thing." And I would have made it very sure that I wasn't going to take that crap. And this has happened a few times in sense where I've met other two photographers where they were a little bit kind of, I don't think they didn't want me there. They were just kind of obnoxious. And I'm going to give you basically these tips on how to resolve situations. Now, one of these photographers that I went to a wedding to, and he was all right during the whole day. Now, I came up to the speeches. I had my G7 on a very small tripod. I was on the floor with a monitor. I asked the guests, the bride and groom, if I was in anyone's way. They went, "No, you're not." I was literally on the floor, hunks down, so no one could see me. So if the camera was in the way, I made sure, because the chairs and tables weren't like that. They were all spread out, so I made sure I was in a different place, not in front of everyone's way. So I was on my hunks filming, and I think it was the groom, that's right, the groom's speech. And then I had to get up because my knees were killing me at one point, because I was looking on the monitor on the floor, making sure it was filming, and I noticed the groom moved, and I had to, change the camera angle a slight to pick him back up again, and that's what I did. So I was up for about, less than 40 seconds, and the photographer came up, goes, "Liam, you're in this person's way, you're in this guest's way." And I went, "Oh, really?" So, and I looked around and says, "Oh, I'm really sorry." She goes, "He's not in my way, what are you on about? It's not in my way. He's just got up." And I says, I'm just turning the camera around because and he goes, "Oh, I thought he was in your way." And she says, "No, it's not in my way." So I would have said it, And he walked, he goes, he said sorry to her, never said anything to me, looked at me, just say, whatever. So he walked away, and this guest, you know, was very polite. She says, "You walking away, don't worry about it, you know." But I got back on the floor, and she goes, I did look, you know, I did have a nice sight when you walked up, and I went, she was looking at me bum for crying out loud, so I got a nice compliment there. So the whole speech is finished. He came up to me about 10 minutes afterwards and says, "Liam, I just wanted to come up, you know, because I felt it was my duty to say, you know, you were in this person's way." And I went, "But I wasn't in the way, I was on the floor. How can my G7, a very small camera, on a very thin tripod when it's not directly in front of anyone, and I'm on the floor with a monitor, how can it be in the way?" And he says, "You were in the way." And I said, and he started raising up. I says, "Well, I was very polite." I says, I asked everyone. I says, "It wasn't in the way, so I'm not sure what you picked up." And I felt like I was going to apologise, and I went, "Stop my brain from doing it." And he says, "Well, you videographers, you're very much all the same, you know. You get hyped because we tell you something. I'm only saying it." And it says, "But," I says, "What do you mean we photographers?" And he goes, "Well, me as a photographer, we're hired first, and it's my duty to come to you because your class is working for us." And I went, "What?" And he says, "Well, yeah, because we set all the photographs, we do all this." And I went, "No, you do the photographs, I don't get involved, and I stand well aside." And he was, "What you on about?" And this was out the guest way, and I suddenly realised, I went, "I'm not getting involved." And it says, "As far as I'm concerned, I asked everyone, I asked her afterwards, I wasn't your way, you could have at least come up to me and whispered in my ear rather than blurting it out in front of everyone." Another event I went to where another photographer, he says, "Have you had any issues at weddings?" I went, "Yeah, slightly with guests who've been drunk." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I've had that, and annoying that." And they went, "No, I don't." I said, "I don't mind it. I've had one where the mother is basically trying to drag me up to the dance floor to dance." And I'm like, "No, no, no." And he goes, "Really?" I went, "Yeah, but I think it's funny." He says, "It's embarrassing for me because they're trying to drag me up." And I'm like, "No." She goes, "You get up and dance." I'm like, "No." And it says, sometimes I've had someone that says, "Oh, you're inappropriately dressed," because it was a boring day. I had a suit on, I had to take it off because it was boiling. Nobody cared about this guy who was drunk. It says, I just ignored him. He goes, "Yeah, I had one that was annoying me all day, and well, you know." And he talked with this kind of, I don't know if I'm doing the voice justice, but "Oh yeah, he kept winding me up all day, and then suddenly, you know," he says, "at the end of the day when I put my cameras away," he says, "Oh yeah, I bet I bloody annoyed you." Sorry about the voices. "I bet I annoyed you." And he says, "Oh yeah, you did, but now I'm finished, I'm off duty, step outside, I'm going to teach you a lesson." And I went, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, I did." And I says, what did the guest do?" He says, "Oh, he walked off." And I thought, bullshit, because basically, if, in my opinion, that's a threat. You threaten to basically take him outside and teach him a lesson, is basically threatening to hit him or something. If I found that as the groom, I would be really, really annoyed. But I was laughing at it. He was a nice guy, basically. But there was only one incident where he says, I said about this wedding where this guy came and says I was in this person's wedding. He goes, "Oh yeah." And I says, he started saying that photographers are, you know, kind of, we work for them. He goes, "I kind of get that because, you know, it is what it is, and, you know, we are the ones that set up." And I went, "Is it?" Anyway, he got to the dance, and the dance, you know, was about 4 minutes long, 4 minutes, say. And he said, "Do you mind if I get in and do the dance first?" And I says, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'll call you in. And I don't mind that, as long as I get in and get what I need to get." And he says, "And I'll do that." So anyway, the dance song was going on for about 2.5 minutes. I looked at my watch, and he didn't do anything, so I went to move in, and he went like that, literally. So I kind of thought, hang on, I'm going to miss this song. So I waited another half set, and I went, and he goes, "No." I thought, I'm going to miss it. So I had to jump in, and I got what I needed to get. And he basically took me aside at the end of the dance, you know, when I was kind of setting back up, and he kind of goes, "What you do, Liam? I told you to stand outside." He goes, "I can see why this photographer was annoyed, because this is why videographers piss photographers off, because I was in there doing my job, and I told you to kind of." "What do you mean told me?" And he says, "Well, I told you. It's like, could you wait?" I went, "But I was going to miss, you were kind of hogging." He goes, "What do you mean hogging?" And he just kind of started, you know, he did calm down after a while, and he goes, "Oh, I'm just saying because you're a nice guy and you might annoy someone." And I went, and I just thought, I just kind of backed off, and I thought, bugger it, no point arguing. My advice is basically, if you've got any essences to, like, a photographer being a bit of or a videographer being a bit funny with yourself, try take them to the side and say, "Look, is there any issues here that I got in your way, or, you know, there's an issue here," because sometimes it might not be yourself. And for example of that, I had one photographer who snapped at myself, and I was kind of shocked by it. I went outside when he was having a cigarette and says, "All right, mate, have I done something wrong?" He goes, "Oh no, Liam, I'm really sorry about this." Yeah, he was a really nice guy. He says, "I just need a cigarette. I broke up with my partner of 6 years last night. I've had no sleep, and I've snapped at yourself." And he apologised about 6-7 times. Most times it's a long day. People people get stressed and people get things at life and home just get annoyed, annoy people, and sometimes they snap at yourself, and it's not yourself. It's the way some things are. So once you book a wedding, find out who the photographer is, and this goes for a videographer, because if you get the number, give them a ring and say, "Hiya, mate, I'm going to call them Rachel. Hiya, Rachel, my name's Liam. I'm going to go to such and such's wedding next year because I'm the videographer. Looking forward to working with yourself." It just breaks the ice. About a week or two before the wedding, just have a look at what the stuff they've done. When you get to the wedding, "Hiya, Rachel, how's you? Oh, it's absolutely beautiful day. Oh, if it's raining, how are we going to do this wedding today? It's absolutely pouring it down, or it's snowing down. Oh, by the way, I've looked at some of your work online, and I love this shot you've done. How have you done that?" What that does, it breaks down the ice barriers, and it makes the other person feel like you've taken interest in what they do. You're not just there as another service provider. You were there as a person, a human being. And then I usually go, "Oh, if I get in your way, please let me know, because I don't want to get in your way," and kick me in the arse. And most of the time, that humour does. It gives me a sense of their feedback. Once they turn and go, "Oh, don't worry about it, Liam. If I get in your way, please let me know. I've had a brighter." Yeah, kick him in the arse, because that'd be funny. Then what I do is, say for example, the aisle walk. Now there's quite a few aisle walks you get during a wedding. And it can be very thin or very large, and videographers like myself, photographers, we try and work together. So sometimes it can be like, photographer says, "Do you mind if I take the first half of the aisle and I'll jump out the way and you can jump in and get your rest?" You went, "Yeah, perfect." We've done where the aisle was so thin we couldn't move, like another photographer I was working with, and he was like, "Oh, how are we going to do this? Because you can't really jump out the way, can you?" I went, "No, but I'm going to jump onto the table." And he went, "What do you mean?" He goes, "How are you going to?" Because just spread your legs. And I basically was on the sat pervert, and I got under there, it was a weird angle, but it still worked because it's the only way to get the shot. I got the shot, he got the shot. The bride and groom laughed as they walked by because they kind of caught us. Sometimes a photographer will stand on the chair, I'll stand on the tables if they're, stable enough. Most people just don't care, just to get the shots. People at venues understand, because if there's very tight constraints, you can arrange things with a photographer and say, "I'm going to stand here, is it okay?" Ceremony, say for example, most of the times if there's enough room or there's actually not enough room, and I'll speak to the people who are actually doing the wedding, I'll say, "Is my tripod okay here?" And mostly it's on the corner of the table, on the tripod, and I'll make sure if it's okay there. And they go, "Yeah, that's fine. I'll set it there." And if it's not, then I'll set it in the corner somewhere, just so it's angled to capture the bride and groom. Then I'll have another camera on the gimbal, and then I'll make sure with the people who are doing the wedding, am I okay around this area? And then most importantly, I'll communicate with the photographer. "Hi, I'm going to set my camera here. I'm going to be here. Is that okay with you?" And most of the time photographers are like, "Yeah, that's fine, perfect." And then what we'll do is, maybe the camera's, the photographer's on the left and I'm on the right, and he'll be doing his photographs, and then he might want to come to this side, I might want to go that. We'll communicate by just going, and then we'll just do that. And it's perfect. Sometimes photographers have just jumped under the lens of the camera and I've caught their head, and I don't care about that. Some have apologised, went, "Oh, I'm sorry, did I get in?" And says, "Yeah, but it's a split second. I'm not bothered by that." Photographers are very apologetic to sometimes when they feel like they've gotten away. One got in the way once before, but it was an over-the-shoulder shot, so I used it, and he went, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Liam. I didn't realise." And I said, "Don't worry about it," because when I showed him the video, what I did was I got the over-shoulder shot, had that, and then basically had the bride and groom in the background. It was a separate shot, and then I clicked them together, and he went, "Wow, I love that." And it works. So I always love to get the photographer in shot, because I absolutely love working with photographers, because I feel I'm a people person. So when I go to a wedding, I absolutely love it. It's so much of a friendly experience, and hardly the time it's a negative one. We always work together, get the best shots. Like example, the photography side, I leave that to the photographer. I don't get involved. I'll let them do the job. I'm off on the outskirts somewhere just to maybe the guests. And then when I only want to get in, I'll say, photographer, you okay with if I just get into this little shot? Or when he's setting it up, I'll take some video there. So for the bride and groom, I'll say, right, I'm going to go off with the bride and groom for 10 minutes. Do you want to come along, or should we do it separately? And most of the time, I prefer if the both of us go and do it together, because they'll set the shot up, I'll do the video, and it works perfect. We all have a great laugh, and it's so brilliant to do it. I love it. I love those bits. And then we communicate between the photographer. Like photographers have said, right, I've said to the photographer, have you thought about doing it from this angle? Because he went, oh yeah, that's actually brilliant. And vice versa. Liam, have you thought about doing this? And it works. It just, and that makes the whole day even better when you're saying to the photographer, have you thought about this? Or the photographer saying to me, have you thought about that? You want the best creative shots. You want the best elements from it. So yeah, so in the end of the day, just communicate with the photographer. You'll get the best shots. I guarantee it. Most of the time, you're never ever going to meet someone that's going to be negative. If you do, just take them to the side and speak with them and say, look, am I in your way, or this situation? And be calm about it. Just realize that another human being, they could have had a shit night before. I love communication. Communication is big key. Now, if you can't communicate and they're only interested in catching the best shots for themselves and they don't want you there, then all you can do is just do your own thing and move away and just do your own thing. Make sure that you capture all the best shots and everything else, because you were there as a separate entity. You were not there to be talked over. Most of the time, you're never ever going to meet someone that's going to be negative. Just don't get in each other's way, and that's all it is. But anyway, I'm going on about a little bit, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care of yourself and enjoy the weekend when it comes around, and stay warm, because it's absolutely freezing in the UK at the moment with that bloody snow. But take care of yourselves. Goodbye now.